Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh Kumar and I'm your DevOps SRE DevSecOps coach. Okay, so today primarily we are going to have three sessions. One is Linux command, okay, and this is for the user. That means if you are working with Linux, just like you are working with Windows, right? So you know some of the stuff, what how to work with Windows. But in Linux, we want you to get comfortable with the commands. So user commands, you can see Linux user commands, so that anyone who's operating the Linux, he must know that these commands, else it'll not be, it'll not be feasible for him or her to work on those stuff. And after that, we'll get into the shell scripting. And after that, we'll go for the Linux admin command. So admin commands is basically for those who are, who are administrator. Most of you basically are administrator. That means if you're working in DevOps and SRE, then you will become administrator, and you need to know admin commands. And one more topic I would like to cover, which is Linux troubleshooting. So this administration and the troubleshooting both are interrelated. So you can put it up in this way, one session. Okay, so let's get started with Linux user command. So in last session, if you remember, I had discussed about how do we work with the Linux kernel, right? So we discussed about the Linux kernel internals and all. So from there, let's get started. So if you see that here, if you see that here, here it is a history of Unix. Though we don't need to know all these events because it's a past. But if you look at this, the flow, the initially the Unix has come, and after that, the VSD Unix has come. If you look at this, the Unix got divided into two part. One is sysv, and another one is VSD. Okay. Now, why we are discussing it? Because some of you might work in the data centers under the SRE, and you might have to understand what exactly you are operating it. So now, if you look at this sysv, which is a Unix flavor, and BSD, which is again Unix flavor. So BSD you can say towards the open source, and sysv basically it's become a proprietary one. So if you see that from the sysv Unix flavor, lots of operating systems flavor got introduced, which includes Solaris, AIX, HPUX, and many more. If you look at it from the VSD also, so many flavors of Unix got introduced. Most of these were open source, but one of these is very popular, which is called OpenBSD. Okay. And from the OpenBSD itself, that got transformed into the Linux, and Linux again is open source, and uh, which got introduced in 1991. So I think these are the, in the world of computing and operating system, these are the some of the key dates which you have. And now, if you look at this specifically Linux, so it was introduced somewhere in 1960s. If you look at this, and after that 1970s also there were some upgrades. And in terms of Linux, which was 1991, right? Again, last time also we discussed Android is released based on the Linux kernel in 2008, and many of the supercomputers got introduced actually lately. Okay, so this is the things. Now you need to focus on the Linux flavor, not Unix flavor. But this image is depicting the flavors, popular flavor, though there are more than 60 flavors available in Unix, and hundreds of flavors has come in Linux actually. But these are the most popular one which we are using. So if you are using for the Unix flavor, if you are working in a data center, probably you have to work on that. So HPUX, IBM AIX, Mac OS is based on Unix, by the way. Solaris, Oracle, and all. So That is something which we have in Unix flavor. Linux flavor, Ubuntu is the one of the popular one, which we are taking as part of our session. Fedora, SUSE, Kali. Kali is for the most of the time it's for the security, related work and all. Red Hat has become very popular. CentOS is a open source version of Red Hat only, and so on. So these are the flavors. So out of this, only one flavor you have to focus. Don't get lost in each of this flavor. Why? Because 99% of the commands will remain same for the all the Linux Unix flavor actually. Okay, and Linux flavor. So only few behaviors will change. Some of the utilities will be different. Some of the tools will be different. Just like you use some tools in Windows, but you cannot install in Mac, right? So same way, different flavors, different vendors has developed their some of the tools which is not supporting to each other. So likewise, which you see that. So yeah, I think we understand that Linux and Unix is a multitasking operating system, multi-user. Last time also we discussed about it, available on the range of computers and so on. Okay, so this is the architecture. I am going to ignore it because we discussed last time very in deep dive. So we have a hardware on top of kernel, on top of shell, on top of the user programs and applications. So what is shell? So uh, this is the see you want to talk to hardware, right? You want to talk to hardware, and for that we have kernel, correct? But how do we talk to kernel? That is the question. So we have a shell, okay? We have a shell which is running on the top of kernel, and it's not only for Linux, it's for every operating system which you know. For example, Mac, you know, it's from the Unix. So Unix shell you have. Windows, we have a earlier we had a command cmd, which is still there, and PowerShell has come recently after some upgrades. And then in Linux, there's so many shells are there. So shell basically, which is helping you to interact with kernel, and kernel talk to the hardware and then get you the response. Now, how do you know which shell you have set? So let me tell you, the life has been simplified now. Earlier, it was very complicated. So now, most of the time, if you are creating the VMs, or whether it's in your laptop or cloud, you are having Bash shell, because Bash shell is one of the user-friendly shell which will work. How do you know that which shell you are at? So just you see the command echo and dollar shell in caps. You have to type it to know about your shell, which is shell. By the way, in any operating system, you can use a multiple shell. Okay, so which are the shell you can use it? So these are the shell we have. Bonnet shell, which is sh, bash, Bonnet again shell, she shell, corn shell, TSH shell. So many shell has come and is in use. But primarily our world will be evolved around the bash shell, because one of the most popular shell and it's easy to use and things like that. So yeah, these are the shell which you can use it. One of this is like most popular bash. After that, I would say fish. So like this. Now here, what I have tried to help you to understand which shell you can use it, some pros and cons, and best for it. But I'm not going to spend time on it because I know all of us are going to use Bash shell, and this is one of the best shell for the strong scripting capability and extensive support and resources, and along with the general purpose scripting and system administrations. So we are using this shell a lot for all the day-to-day activities and all. Okay, so this is something which we have now. So we have clear, like we are going to use Bash shell. So let me create a one Linux box. Now, where do you create? I don't care. You can create on AWS, you can create on Azure, you can create on Google Cloud. You can create on a laptop, the VMs and all, anywhere. But ultimately, you should have an operating system. Uh, And right now, the just because I want to save lots of time, I don't want to waste your time and my mine too. So I'm going to create immediately some of the paid VMs on the AWS. So this is a Linux VM. I'm going to create it. Ubuntu I'm creating. The version which I'm going for is 20, which is very popular. CPU
Hello,
RAM I don't too
hello.
much. Yeah.
Um, I'm sorry, the way you're going about this class, I don't think anybody's following, except maybe I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not following because um, I really don't. You've talked a lot now, but I really don't see what you've said so far. Yeah. I had challenge trying to set up some of my environment, but my lab, but there's no way I can get help. You just run through this session and we can't even get to understand what you have done, then we move on. I don't think that's right.
Okay. So Emmanuel,
Yeah,
here is the thing. I think last time also you had some concern, and after that, you are sharing the concerns today. So let me put it in a very straightforward way. Live session is not for addressing the concerns. Simple.
exactly. No,
If you are, just let me
listen.
complete.
Let me
Let me
come. Let me
complete.
come. Let me answer
No,
this.
no, no, no.
There's
Let
nowhere
me
to
complete.
address this concern.
No, no.
Where can
That's
I
what I'm
address
saying.
this concern? There's
No.
nowhere to address this concern. And I'm
Yeah.
worried.
Just
This conference will now be recorded.
okay. So guys, so we were discussing about. Uh, See, I lost the track. So basically, we were discussing about the Linux user command. So it's simple. If you want to work on Linux, you have to learn commands. And how do we learn the commands? So you have to have a VMs. Some of you, if you have a hardware on top of that, you can install the operating system. That's okay. In the last session, I talked about how to create a VMs in your laptop. But right now, I'm not using laptop for the VMs. Why? I'm using AWS and it's paid services. So why I'm using this? Just to save time. So our time should not be going into the VM creation process, which I have already covered in the last session. So I repeat, VM is in your laptop or AWS or Azure, it's the same thing. 100% the same thing, same behavior. So I'm going to create a VM here, a 1 to 20. I'll give because only for the demo. So T2 micro and keys I need it. And I think I should go for the one of the. Just don't worry too much here because I'm going to teach you AWS class anyways. What I'm trying to do, I'm creating one VM. That's all. Nothing else I'm doing here. And create. Okay, so here I've created one VM. This is the IP address which I'm going to do the putty. So same way when you create a VM using the VM, sorry, uh, vSphere or maybe VirtualBox, the one which we are using for the session, uh, you will have the IP address and using that you can do the putty. So let me add AWS my chats. Okay. So the key and the only challenge here in AWS we have a keys, not a password. So I have to locate the key and that is here and accept. Okay, so here. Okay, so this is the one of the VM, which is the Linux VM 1 to 20, and we are going to spend some time learning some of the commands. So now the question is, let me log in first. Here it is. Now question is, once you log in to the VM, how do we get started? So let me tell you this way. Linux has more than thousands of commands. When you say thousands of commands, it's like thousands of executables lying in the Linux. Okay, so now what I have done, if you see, if you come here and you see that this is the Ubuntu Linux list of commands which you have. So how many you have? Minimum 1229. That means default when you go for any operating system as Linux, Ubuntu or CentOS, minimum you have a 1229 tools by default available. Okay, and when I say tools, that means you can say it's a command. Each tools is a one command. For example, ls is one command, but it is a tool. See here, see it's lying here. So any command is just a tool lying in your operating system. So by default, you have a 1200 plus utility, 1200 plus commands are exist on the each Linux system. And I must tell you also, each commands you have a tens of parameters. For example, there is one command which is there's one tool and command which is the find. And now if you see that how many parameters we have, man for manual, find command, and here so many parameters are there. Look at this. Okay, so many parameters are there. It's a pretty long manual. You can typically you will Google it, but I'm showing you the Linux command for everything, so you will understand this. So now the question is, am I going to learn all these 1200 plus commands and 1200 plus tens of options altogether? I think close to 12 to 15,000 options and commands. No. Let me put it in a simple way. Do you know everything about the Windows? No, you don't know everything about the Windows, but still you work on a daily basis on the Windows. So same way in Linux, you need to know certain commands, let's say maximum 50 commands to operate Linux very efficiently. Okay, so that is something which we are going to help you with it. So now, after that, once you get comfortable with this most frequently used commands, after that you have you're based upon the requirements, you keep learning these tools, and these tools is nothing but the commands, and then you can explore options. Okay, so now coming back to the questions like which are what we are going to learn in that case. So I mean, what command we should focus first in Linux. So what I have done, I've created a documentations for it. So Linux user command DevOps cool. Okay, and this tutorial will help you. This tutorial will help you. Now let me tell you guys one important thing. If you are expecting just you cover this session and you will become expert in Linux, then you are having wrong expectations. Linux demand the practice. On a daily basis, you have to use for every compute requirement, you have to use a Linux. And the more you practice, the more you get used to the commands. If you leave the practice for 3 months also, again you are back to the same place. So it's just like a practice you need it. Okay, so every day you have to bring the changes in your life, I mean your working environment. Use Linux for most of the things, and the moment you bring the Linux for most of the things, you get to use it in a proper way. So yes, what are the commands we should focus on it? So as I said, there's so many commands, and some of the commands I'll just talk about that at intro level. Some of the commands I'll deep dive, because some of the commands is a very straightforward, but some of the commands you required certain explanation. So whenever I feel required certain explanation, I will do that. So for example, listing the directory. For example, in Windows, what do? You go to this directory, let's say, and you click on the folder, okay, and automatically in the console you have a list of files, their modified times, types, size, and everything you have it, because this is a console. But how do we get it on the command line, on the shell? Okay, how do we get it? So which shell I'm having? So here, if you see, it's a bash shell, and as I told you, we all are going to use bash shell. Now what is the ls command? So ls command will help you to list the files and folders in any of these directories, subdirectory, or any location. For example, I want to know ls, and here it is showing me nothing. Why? Because this folder has nothing. But if I say ls etc directory, here there's so many folders and directories we have it. Sorry, a directory and files we have it. We don't call it a folder because the folder is a Windows concept, directory is Linux concept. Okay, so these are the directories and files. So now ls command we understood that, but is this the sufficient for it? No. Now if you go to this part here, what I have done, there are lots of options available. Okay, lots of options, and I just said ls has a more than 30 options. You don't need to spend time for each and everything, but I would suggest you just spend some time running these commands. Here it will help you to listing all the files, hidden files, including hidden files. Okay, and here it will help you in terms of reverse alphabetic order. So these are the things. For example, let me put it in this way. You list out the files here in Kafka folder, but you say submit by site, submit by type, submit by modified time, all these things. Here you have many options, group by so many, and sorting by, here so many options, right? So you have on the console, but here you have on the commands. That's all. It's the same thing. Okay, just you have to change a little bit of mindset of working on the command line. Okay, so now I will ask you to practice this one. Now let's move on to the second command. Here cd command. What is a cd command? So cd command means change directory. In Linux, on the console, I mean command line, if you want to go to certain directory, you have to use a cd, and there's lots of variant is there, lots of options to quickly traverse through the different directory structure. For example, if I do cd, I'll go to the user home. See here, I go to the, if you see the OPT, I'll go to the OPT. See here, PWD is a way to come to the command, I mean, whatever the directory you are. Okay, again, if I like a CD directly, I go to the user home. Now, if I say CD dot dot, I'll go back. So there are so many variants. You don't need to hard code. Slowly you get into that. Okay, slowly you get into that and then start practicing it. So if you see that here, what I have done, some of the popular variant which I have listed down is just a matter of practice. You will do that. In a short, cd command, if you want to go anywhere in the operating system, Linux, you have to use this. Okay, not a very difficult command to remember. So let's move on. PWD, I mean, where are you right now? PWD, simple. You will get to know which directory you are at. Okay, now touch command is one of my favorite command. What exactly is this is doing? So basically, touch command will modify the timestamp of any file. Okay, let me try to get in the TMP. Okay, and if I show you here, look at this, the timestamp for this file. This is the hidden file, by the way. Okay, and the timestamp which was modified, I mean, it was created in March 27 by root. So if you look at this, these are the permissions for this. This is the user owner, this is the group which is this file belong to, and node, dates, time, and all kind of things. So this is the information about the file, but you want to change this file timestamp. So what to do? So just write a touch and then file name, and if you see that which file I used, it was nx. See that here file got changed as per the right time. So touch is a command to change the update the timestamp of the file. But you know what? We don't use this command to changing the file stamp. So for what reason we use it? So we use this file for creating a temporary file, empty file. How? Let me show you. Remember that there's no file in my directory. Touch rajesh.txt, and here ls. This is the file which got created. So there are use cases for it. Touch is a very handy command. You can get it. Now, how do we create directories? I don't think so. I have to tell you because in Windows also it's the same command. mkdir for creating a directory in Windows also, and Linux also same. How do we delete the files or directories? rm command. Let's say I want to delete this file, Rajesh, and gone. Now, if I want to create one directory, mkdir Rajesh, and here mkdir Rajesh, and here if I want to delete it, Rajesh, see here what it says, you cannot remove Rajesh and it is a directory. What to do? So you have to use recursive mode to delete the directory. Okay, and then it's gone. So you can use this rm command to remove the files and directories. If you want to remove the empty directories, rmdir, you can do that. Okay, So these are some of the basic command. Practice it few times and it should be okay. Now you want to copy a files or directory from one location to another location. What do we do? So we have cp command. Okay, so cp command, let's say touch, I'm creating one file, and rajesh.txt, and here cp rajesh.txt to opt locations. So what exactly this is? So here if I see, I'm trying to copy from the my current location which I created a file to the location which is opt, and that is where the permission is denied. Okay, so that means this user, we do not have a permissions to copy the files in opt. So maybe the if you become a root, you'll have a permissions. So what I can do, I can send it to the tmp where I have a permissions, and so on. So yes, not every, I mean, you are a normal user, let me tell you, you are a normal user, you may not have permission to all the places, but certain places which you want to work with, it depends on that. And root have a permissions to everywhere, remember that. Root user, how can you become a root? Sudo -s, you become a root. So you gain the permission using sudo command. So sudo is one of the permission escalation tools for that users. You want to come out of it, root, exit, become a Ubuntu normal user. Okay, so now this you can copy the files and folders from using cp command. Now same way, if you say if you do not want to copy, you want to move or rename the files or directory, so mb command you can use it. But before that, let me tell you here, we have some addition. If you want to copy the files within the operating system, you are using cp command. Okay, but if you are copying the files across the operating system, let's say in a different machine, then you are using scp. Remember, scp means secure copy command. Okay, so that is the, just keep in mind cp versus scp. Okay, in this tutorial you will have scp commands also somewhere downside, so we'll cover that one later. Okay, so move commands, let's say you want to move some file. So I had a move one file under the tmp, and which was rajesh, and I want to bring it to somewhere location, let's say current directory dot. Okay, so this you can do that mv command, and here you got the file move back to this. Okay, echo command is like if you know any programming language, uh, echo command is to display some variables or certain strings on the console itself. For example, I say echo and print Rajesh. So it's a string, it just print Rajesh. But if I say echo and some variable, it's a built-in variable, you just now used it, shell. So it got the shell variable. If you want to see the path environment variable, here is a, these are the path environment variable. Okay, you can use for the displaying some strings, you can use it for the displaying some variables, and so on. So this is the echo commands. Now what is a cat command? So let me tell you, cat is a very powerful command, very powerful command. It has a more than 30 variants actually, I mean parameters. Okay, so use cases are like a too many for this. But what do we use it for it? So we use it primarily for displaying the content of the files. Yes, if you want to see the display the content of the file, then use the cat. Are we having any other commands also display the content of the command, content of the file? So guys, I must tell you here, there's so many commands exist in the market in the Linux which can be used for displaying the content. For example, cat is the one of the one, more is another one, less is another one, and we do have so many editors also. Okay, so some of the popular editors like BI editors, Nano editors, Vim editors, depends on you want to use Eclipse or any other also. We code also. Many editors are there. So in Linux, one of the default editor which you have is a VI editor, Nano editor, Vim editor. So these are the editor you can use it and work on it. But here my requirement was just to print the content of the file, content of the file. So what you can use, simple cat. But if you say no, the cat will not give you the pagination and stuff like that, use more. If you want to see the content from the downside, less. So these are the utilities, very favorable and most popular one. You can use it. So let me try it out here. So here, first of all, I'm going to create one file, which is a rajesh.txt, which is already exist. I'm going to modify using vi editor, rajesh.txt, and I'll teach you the vi editor basics in few minutes. This is the file I committed, and you see I want to see the content. I want to see the content. I want to see the content. See here. So this is the command which I talked about it. Cat more less has a certain more properties. Okay, and you can use this for displaying the content of the file. Now my favorite is more, because that way if it is if it is a small file, cat is okay. But if it's a large file, maybe 10 pages, 20 pages and all, so page wise view you can get it from the more, and that's the reason it is one of my favorite command. Okay, now next two commands which we have is very powerful, and I would suggest you grep command only you spend at least 2 hours. Find command only you at least spend 1 hour. Why I'm asking you? Because these 2 hours what you spend first time one day and 1 hours with the find commands, this will save thousands of hours in future while working with Linux. Thousands of hours. So what exactly this is? So here grep command and find command. So find command, let's say you want to find a file in Windows. What do you do? Typically you go to, let's say, Kafka directory is there, and here I'll come and I'll search for what is a file, connect, and here you simply you do that, and it's not a very big task. It's very easy to do that. Why? Because we have a console. But in the Linux you are not going to use console. So how do we find the commands? Now you want to find the files, but not only by the name, but also modify date, type, size, permission, this, that. Hell lot of customizations will come. Okay. So how do we do that? How do we do that? And that is where if you want to find a file, you have a find command. So find command will help you to locate files directory in your operating system. Okay, now find command also we have more than 30 variant, I mean 13 options, but you don't need to spend on everything, but some of this is very important. I would suggest you to spend some time on this find command. So these are the popular variations of the find command. For example, let's say here you are finding a file in this directory, and the file name must be with this one. But if you don't know the pattern, I mean, if you don't know the exact file name, you can use a regular expression. Okay, you can use extension, and also you can decide the type of file. It should be file actually, because there are two things, file and directory. Here you are trying to find the file, here you are trying to find the directory. Here you are trying to find the file with the size, it should be more than 100 MB only. Here you are trying to find the file where the modification time is less than 7 days, and so on. Here you are trying to find the file where the permission of the file should be 644. What is a 644? I'll discuss in few minutes. Here you are trying to find a file, but also display it. You can remove it also using exec. So these are the various combinations what you have, which you just get, practice few times and get it done. So are you comfortable with the find commands, all of you?
Yeah.
Any questions?
No, no.
Okay. So now next thing is, let me just run just for showing purpose. So now let me tell you, this is a file which is rajesh.txt. Okay, and I am in the tmp directory, cd tmp directory. Okay, so I'm just trying to find the file, and in the not dot home ubuntu hyphen name. Okay, type also you can specify rajesh.txt, and here you got it. So all these combinations you have to learn. Now the next command, which is a very popular, and that is a grep command. What is a grep command? So let me tell you here, understand this difference between find and grep. The find command will help you to locate the files and directories, but grep command will help you to search the content in files and directories. Of course, files only, which will be inside a directory or multiple recursively and all. The content in the file. For example, let's say you have one file which is called rajesh.txt and it has a hell lot of content, thousands of lines of content. But you want to find the files which has a RAM content. So something like you can do the grep -r, capital R recursive to all the files and directory in this location, and what search you want grep and dot means wherever you want to find. So what it will do, grep recursively to all the files and directories and all the files which have a content which is RAM. Now grep is for the searching the content in the file. So same way, some of the variants I have put it up here, and you can practice it. Again I said you have to spend at least 1 to 2 hours with the find and grep command. Why? Because if you want to save the time in future, because it has so many variant, regular expression, and so many things you can practice it. Okay, so here I means ignore means the file name. It can be file name.txt or f capital, l small, n capital, or anything. So ignore the case sensitivity and stuff like that. So like that we have so many patterns, and good to go. Now we have few commands which is for changing the permission and ownership. Okay, changing the permission and ownership. So what does that mean? So here if you see, let me, this is the most important command, so you have to spend few minutes extra, and that is chmod and chown. So what is the permission and what is ownership? So let me show you certain files in Linux. Here you see there is one file which you have rajesh.txt. Okay, and only I'll copy this one, and if you see that here, this first hyphen, the one which you have, you just ignore it, delete rather. Okay, done. Now here you have this one. Now if you look at it, this one, this decide the permission what Ubuntu user has. When you have Ubuntu means, so Ubuntu is a user who's owning this file, and at the same time Ubuntu is a group also which Ubuntu is a part of it. So yeah, here coincidentally group name and username is same, and this is the timestamp and this is the file name and all. So what is this? So this is the permission, and what is this? This is the ownership, user, group. But the question is, how do we nail it down this one? How do we nail it down? So you have to, in order to understand this part, you have to divide it into three parts: rw-1, rw-1, and r-hyphen. So what is this? So this r, w, and r means read only. W means you understand now, right? And the one which is missing in this picture, X, which is called execute. Okay, so read, write, execute. So these are the three modes we have it. But the question is why we have a three times, one time, two times, three times. So this one time is actually applicable for the owner of the file. Okay. Second one, why we have a second one? So this will be applicable the file which is a part of the group. So group, and this permission applied for others. Okay, that means the file which we have here, owner has this permission. For this file, owner, a group of that particular user has this permission. Then anyone who's a part of the, not owner and not a part of that group, is having this permission. Now next thing is, how do we understand this? As I said, read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read only. So what exactly? So this all this is carrying some weightage. R is carrying the 4 weightage. W is carrying the 2 weightage number, okay? Execute is carrying the 1 weightage. Now you don't have to learn this one. You can still make it work with the RWX, but if you use the number, it will be wise for it will be faster because everyone use the number instead of RWX. So R means 4, W means 2, 1 means execute. So in that case, if I convert in the number R plus W, that means 6 number and plus 0. So 6 number, here R plus W 6 number, and here R means the permission of the file is 664. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say, all of you?
Yeah.
So now can you change the permission because your owner you can do anything on this file. Okay, so what I'm trying to do right now, this file I'm giving a 0 access, chmod 000. That means owner should have a 0 access. Group of that users should be having 0 access, and others. And you see that? See, gone. Now I want to give the full access. 777. And here you will see you have it complete. So now if you want to change the permissions, you have to work with chmod command. Now chmod also have a multiple variant which you have to practice it. Now I have also created one tutorial for it, chmod specifically. See here, by the way, many tutorials you'll find it. I'm just giving you only the highlight one, the one which you need to focus, because rest of the things, lots of things are there. So this is explained actually properly, and some commands are there, you have to practice it. So are you comfortable with the chmod, all of you?
Yeah.
Next
Yes, sir.
command which you have is a chown. What is this? So see here, the full form of chmod is ch means change, mode means permission. You can say mode means permission. Here ch means change, own means ownership.
Ownership.
So can I change the ownership? So here, if you see, I have one file which you have a rajesh.txt. Okay, and I'm going to change the ownership. So how do I do that? So I'm going to add one user add. I'm adding using Rajesh, which is, oh, I don't have a permission. So what do we do? I will use with the sudo, and I got added this user, and this user modification addition, all this thing we'll discuss in the admin sections. Just be with me. So I created one user. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give the name ownership to the Rajesh, the user which I created. So what I'll do, chown, okay, Rajesh, which is user, Rajesh colon Rajesh, and the file name Rajesh. Okay, there is a problem. What is the problem? So the here what is happening, the ownership which I am transferring it, okay, is not permitted for me, not permitted for me. So what I can use, sudo, so it will be easy. And now you see that the owned by Rajesh. Why it was not permitted to me? Because this file was a part of the user which is called home user, and Rajesh is not supposed to have access to that. But what I did, I override that warning and use the root access to permissions, set the permissions. Okay, so likewise you can set the ownership. Now ownership also has a multiple way, like recursively you can change the file ownership and all stuff like that. You can get it done. So very important command, you have to practice it. Whichever command I'm saying, you have to practice it a lot. Now here there are few more commands which we have. For example, tail and diff and head, you will not use much. Sometime when you become a very good troubleshooter, then you need to see the top of the files only by line numbers, or the bottom of the files only by line numbers, or maybe you want to differentiate between the two files. Then these three commands you can use it. Head for first part of the files, tell for the bottom last part of the files, and the diff between the two files. So this you can do that, but not very frequently used. So I'll just ask you to practice few seconds, few minutes, and then move on. Now I want you to focus on one very important concept, and that is called archiving and compressing. Okay, so anyone would like to help me? What is the meaning of archiving and what is the meaning of compressing?
Archiving the file and putting it in a zip file. It reduces
Archiving.
the size.
Okay, yeah. So here there's a difference. The one which you explained it is all about the compressing, not archiving. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so archiving means you have a thousands of files and you want to transfer it to someone, so you want to create one files out of it without compression. That is called archiving. Okay, archive means put it up all the files together. Compressing means you have thousands of files, but you have to create one file which is archiving and plus compress that to reduce the size of it. So that is called compressing. So compressing have archiving and compressing both the default. Make sense?
Yeah.
Now the question is which are the utility you are going to use? In Linux there are so many utility and that's the reason I'm focusing here. So one of the utility, if you let's say if you want to archive, so what is the very popular one which you have is tarball. Okay, tarball. So how do we create a tar? I mean, there's a multiple variant again. I must tell you, each command you have 20 variants. So don't worry about that. But here I'm creating a tarball. So tar hyphen c vf. What is the file rajesh.tar and what is the folder current locations from that you want to take it up and everything you created a tarball. You see from the dot location I taken everything. So created a tarball. You can extract also. So instead of C, if you do X means extract, and this dot is not required. Extract. Okay, I did in the same directory just for the demo this stuff. So understand this tarball. Okay, now the question is which one will help you to archive it? So I'm damn sure you have used thousands and thousands of time zip in Windows and Linux also. So if you want to zip some folder, let's say mkdir Raju, and inside that I'm creating one file touch Raju and 1.txt done and zip hyphen r I'm creating Raju.zip file and from Raju directory and here is a problem. There's a problem. I don't know. Can you please help me?
So that command that utility is not
You
installed. We
want
have
to
to
install that.
we have to
Yes,
install
so
that.
this is not so package manager concept. This topic I'll talk about in few minutes. Just give me some time. I will not mix two topics. So for time being, blindly I'm installing it. Okay, and yes, done. And now, uh, and here, this is a problem here. Nothing to do. Why? There was syntax issues actually. So now I created unzip. Unzip also will not be there. I know that. Oh, is there? Yeah. Unzip and Raju.gif unzip. Yes, all because it was exist already, so it was asking fit for me. Okay, so coming back to this thing compressing. So here we have a two utility, zip and zip, and here we have a one utility. Now you say Rajesh, I want to come archive and compress both way, both the things, and which one I should use it, which is the best tool available in Linux. So my suggestion would be JZip for archive, sorry, tar for archiving plus JZip for compressing. Together you can use it. Okay, this is the one command for tarring, and then same tar after that you can ggip, it will become a compress. Okay, and how do we untar it? So untar it when there's no command. X hyphen x is the option, and gunzip we call it gunzip. I'll show you the demo. This is the best one, but zip, the one which you know that it also can be used for archiving and compressing. But tar is giving you lots of better compression compared to zip. Okay, so can we do this? So here what I'm going to do, there is a one tar file which is a rajesh.tar. I'm going to jzip. So jzip rajesh.tar, and here it is. See here. Dot extension, look at this. You want to untar one, I mean decompress, then here gunzip and Rajesh dot tar, and then you got a tar back, and after the tar you can untar using hyphen x options. So this is the option which we have for compressing and archiving, and this is what I want you to spend some time with a tar, and zip somewhere downside will be there. Okay, so accordingly you can spend some time. Are you clear with it, this option?
Yeah.
Okay, now next thing is, guys, these two utilities very helpful for you. What is this? Anyone have tried it in the past? Can you please comment
Ye-
on it?
Yes. Curl is to access any website. Wget is to, it's like, interact. I'm not sure. Wget I haven't. SSH,
I- I- I'll put it in
Yeah.
this way. See, you have a browser. So what you do? You browse the website, simple. But the question is, how do we browse the website? I mean, when it's a browse means open that certain web endpoint. How do we do that? Okay, so for that, one of the major use cases for curl is to access the website over the command line. Okay, for example, I want to access my website curl and http. Just I'll copy this URL. Okay, and this is the website. Now you'll say, Rajesh, I cannot read. Yes, of course you cannot read because the HTML code, no, same code which you have here. This is the access, right? Browser is converting this code into the this part, right? So you got it. But there are many use cases where you can use a curl command to access your website, and you can pass the one thing which I'm missing, verb. That is that is important in this command. Anyone have idea what is a verb? The
Mm,
curl command, by default the verb is using get, but we do have a many things. So verb we have a get, put, post, delete, and something like that. So basically, what you want to do? Okay, HTTP verb. I have to tell. Look at this here. So what happens? If you are a programmer, you will write a function. What function in your code? Create function, read function, update function, replace function, modify function, and delete function. But how user will call that function from the endpoint from URL? So they use the post, get, put, patch, delete. For example, here that URL, it can be curl hyphen x get and URL. So by this, I did not specify because a default actually. But if you have something else, put, post, all this thing. Okay, so this is the one of the commands which you have called. Now wget is very straightforward. You want to download certain file, wget full URL of that file, zip file or tarball or whatever it is, download the file. Okay, now SCP I discussed about it already. CP for the files copying and folders copying within an OS. But if you want to do across different machines, if you have a two VMs, you can do try this one SCP and so on. Now SSH is something which is important. Okay, so let me put it up in this way. Uh, and I think I have discussed in the last session also. How do we access? How do we access a remote machine? Correct? Correct now?
Yes.
So
Yes.
guys, if you are on Windows, okay, and the remote machine is in Linux, then which is the protocol we'll use for that interactive? I mean, there's so many ways, but one of the protocol is SSH. So you get a
Yes.
console access, you get a shell access, mind it, sorry, shell access, not console access. But now, if you have the remote is in Windows, then what you want to do? If you want, which protocol you going to use it?
RDP
RDP
for
protocol.
Windows.
But in RDP you get a console. Yesterday, I mean last day, I think I have shown you, no? Windows. No, I think I am not showing it to you guys. Yeah. So Windows you get a console. Console means what? This is the one which I am showing you on my Windows. You are seeing my console actually. So how do we do the RDP? So here we have a remote desktop tool in every Windows, and here you have to give the IP address of this machine. See, last we had a AWS session, so I demoed it. So you give the IP address, username, and password, and you can connect remote desktop connection. But you say, Rajesh, I don't want a console. I am a command line guys. I'm a DevOps or SR engineer, so I want this one. So you will use WinRM. Okay, WinRM and in Windows. And here this is a command line actually, and this is a HTTP based protocol actually, but you it will help you to the command line. So the port which for SSH, what is the port? Anyone would like to tell me which port it interact?
22.
22. And RDP, even I
Four
forgot
four
to be honest.
four four
Three,
three.
no, 3 3 2 8
That's
I
for
guess.
SP. Okay.
Yeah, just a second hold. When RDP port 3389, yeah. 3389. Now, what is the WinRM port? So 5687, I guess. Let me confirm. WinRM port is 595986 and 8585. Two ports. Why you have a two port? Because I told you it's a HTTP protocol. Travel that request through HTTP. So 5 is running on HTTP and 6 is running on HTTPS. Okay, so now here if you see, coming back to the topics here you have SSH. What to do? Connect to Linux box using this utility over the 22 port. Simple. What do you get? It cell access. Now, can we try SSH from Windows? Yes, you can try. How do we do that? Let me show you. Git bash utility, one of these is you have it. You can use PowerShell utility. PowerShell utility. Windows PowerShell, you see. SSH is installed nowadays. See, SSH is there. I don't know whether it's CMD is there or not. It's used, I mean, it was not there, but recently I heard it's coming. Yeah, it's coming. But I use what? I use Putty, the one which you have seen few times. But I don't use Putty to be honest. I use am remote ng or MOBA because advanced one. But Putty I am using for the training purpose, so that way you don't get lost because that's a handy one of the handy tool. Okay, so what is SSH? You know that it's one of the utility to connect one of the Linux box over the IP address. Are you comfortable, all of you?
Yeah.
Now PS command. So guys, I want to know all the list of process in my operating system. So what you know in Windows, you have a task manager. You see here. And here you can go get to know all the tasks which you are running, what is their PID, what is the status, who's running, which user, how much CPU, how much RAM is consuming. All this you have it. But the question is, how do we get in Linux? So that is where we have a PS command. Now, if I run the PS command, I have just only two process. How come? So basically, when you run the PS command, it will tell you the user who's running this process only tell you. So right now, I'm not running any processes except I'm utilizing the bash and PS. Just now I ran it. It was a temporary process. So now the question is, how do I get the entire process? So you have to do many subcommands are there. EAF. one of the favorite one mine. And here you get to know all the system processes running owned by which user. Here you have UID, PID, PPID, and CMD, all this thing, everything you have it. So PS command, you have to practice it to get it. Now you want to know which are the processes which is consuming how much CPU and RAM. So here you won't get the CPU and RAM, you get a process. But you want to see the CPU and RAM, just like this. You see, if I ask, hey, which process is taking more CPU right now? So if you see, go to meeting is taking more CPU right now, and RAM also. If I no, Firefox is taking more RAM right? So how do I know this in Linux? So there's one command which we have is top. See here, top command will tell you complete detail about the CPU utilization, memory utilization, swap memory utilization, which process is running with what, all the CPU memories and stuff like that. Complete detail. Okay, so this is the one of the commands which you can use it. Now you want to kill some process. So then here you have a kill command. What is this? Let me kill some process. I don't know which process to kill. I don't want to lose the access for the machine, but simply I'm killing k audit d. So k audit d, the process ID is 21. Okay, so kill 21, but this is a harsh killing. Can I do the soft killing? -n soft killing, and here it says you are not allowed to do it. So what I'm going to do, sudo, and I kill that process. Now you may not have that process. Okay, it is got created, but it's a change. PID got changed here. Is it? No, it's not got created actually. Hold on a second. 21. Okay, so here I kill this 21, but it's not getting killed. If you notice actually. So what it could be the reason for it? So the reason could be this is the system process which is not allowed to kill actually. That is a problem. Okay, but any other process like user process and all, right now all these are system process only actually. So any user process you want to run, you can kill this command. Now next thing is editor. So as I said, we have so many editor. We have a vi editor, nano editor, vim editor, many editors are there. But which editor you are supposed to work? So editor means editor, just like notepad you have it, right? So same way in Linux we have a vim, a vi. So how do we work on it? So guys, vi, we have so many techniques, and I would suggest you to look at the cheat sheet for the vi. Okay, uh, cheat sheet. So you go to here, tutorial, and cheat sheet, and here you have a cheat sheet for everything, but vi editor cheat sheet, I want you to look at it. Okay, so this is the cheat sheet for, because you are going to use the vi editor lifetime. So there's so many combinations are there which you again get to know. It will help you. Okay, but for time being, I want you to give you a little bit of demo so you can get started. So here, first time when you use vi and the file name, you are opening a file in the read only mode. You see here, the file which I open is a read only mode. That means you cannot modify the file. So now next question is, how do we modify the file? So you have to press I for insert. Can you go to the read only mode? Escape. 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 I for insert, escape for read only mode. I for insert, escape for read only mode. Simple. So you have to get a habit of I escape. I insert, modify the file, whatever you want to modify, escape. Why you have to escape all the time? Because if you want to quit without saving, or if you want to quit the file with the saving, you have to be in read only mode. Insert mode, you can only write the file. So you have to, anyways, you have to go to the read only mode by pressing escape. So I came here, and then if I don't want to save the file, then colon, look at the bottom section of my screen. Let me see that. Look at the bottom section of this my screen, colon and Q and exclamation. That means I want to quit but without saving. Enter. And here, see, no save has happened. But this time I want to save this. So WQ. That's all. So again, I'm repeating. If you want, if you're opening a file with the VI, it will be in read-only mode. You have to put it in insert mode using I, modify the files, come out of it again, WQ or Q explanations, whatever it is, it depends on your requirement into that. But so many things are there actually in the VI editor. So many things. So these are the short cheat code which can help you in a many ways actually. Okay, so not do not take it immediately. You have to learn as you grow, start using on daily basis. It will improve your skills on the VI editor. Okay, so that is something which you have to do that. Now, next command which you have, we have a few editors also, and here sudo. So what is sudo? I think you might have seen me using multiple times. What is sudo? So guys, sudo is a tool. Simple. Sudo is a tool. Is utility. Where exactly this is? Which sudo if you do, you'll get to know it's there in the user bin sudo. But the question is, what is the work of sudo? What is the function of sudo? So
Like
basically,
root is working like
yes. So basically, see, there were so many utility, so many requirements we have in for that. We required the root access, root access. So root, so many organization what they do not like to share the root password. They do not like to share the password. So the question is, what should we do? I mean, if you are not able to allow to do that, so they use one utility which is called sudo, and they allowed using sudo to get the root permission. So that means if you do anything with the sudo, you are allowed to do what a root can do and get the work done. So it's one of the way to escalating your permission. You can do sudo. For example, I'm trying to restart some of the services. When I say services, that means what? So if you go in Windows, here you have a services, right? Services.msc. I'm showing in the window so you can correlate in a mindset, in a mind. These are the services running on my Windows. How do I see in Linux? So here you have these are the services, these are the process. But I want to restart some of the services. So how do I do that? So let me install some of the utility. So sudo, first let me apt get install Apache 2. I'm installing Apache 2. See, Apache, Ubuntu is not having any permissions to install that in the system. So what should I do? Add a sudo. You'll have a permission. Yes. So you install the Apache and you got the permissions. After that, what do you want to do? Restart the services. So let me restart the services of Apache. So here you have systemctl start Apache 2. Okay, and you see I don't have a permission. It's prompting for me the password. So what should I do? Use a sudo and start it. So sudo is one of the way to escalating the permissions. Okay, there are many utilities also around like a su and all. Nowadays we don't use it, but earlier we were using actually. Okay, so these two commands will help you to understand the disk space and file size. Okay, so let me show you how many. I mean, if you want to see that file size and disk space for your computer, where is my computer? Let me here. So see here, C drive. I have a G drive, which is a Google Drive and all. So how do I see in Linux? So you have a command which you have is df command, and I'm adding kh. I've got a habit of it. So these are the mounts you have available: root mount, dev sem mount, run mount. This so multiple mounts is available. You can create a one more mount, depends on need. So right now in Windows I have only two mounts. One is G mount, C mount. So this is the df command to see the mounts, but you want to see the size of the file. So how do you see that? So du-sh and the file name. So that's the one. So this command is handy to know the your df command for overall system mounts and the size, and do for your file size and all. Man is basically command for manuals for any commands. Typically nowadays we don't use it because you have access to the Google much faster. But I remember when you used to work on the private environment, no internet, only you have access to the system only. So manual was one of the things. Okay, now Let's focus on this command here. What is this? So here we have a concept of package manager. What is a package manager? So let me put up in the some of the package manager. When Windows we have, Android you are using, I think some of you are using iPhone also, right? iOS and so on. Then I'm talking about the Linux in this my context. Same way. So guys, in Windows, do you know any package manager? Have you used any package manager? When I say package manager, that means the tool which can help you to install the package, remove the package, or uninstall the package. Have you used this?
Windows installer.
No, that's not a package manager. You can. Okay. So I don't know how many of you have used it. Okay. So one of the very popular one is Chocolatey. Chocolatey. Windows. Very popular one. Okay. That means if you want to install something on Windows, you use this one. But nowadays Microsoft has come with a Microsoft Store also. But we were using this one. Thousands of packages are there. Okay. See here. This is the one. Very popular one. Okay. So chocolatey. So this was a very popular one. But nowadays, store is also we can use for package manager. That's not a problem. Store. And chocolatey and store when Microsoft Store. There's one more which got recently not in a we were using, but nowadays is not been used too much. NuGet is from Microsoft again. NuGet. So you can install the packages, thousands of packages. You see that here, unique packages, 4 lakh packages of prox. You have it for that. So NuGet was also very popular package manager actually. Okay. But in Android, I don't think so. I have to tell you. What is that?
Play Store.
In Android, Play Store, correct? No? Hello? All of you? I'm audible, all of you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So Play Store, do you use it in iOS? What do you guys use? App Store, right now? So why I'm discussing all these things? So you set your mindset accordingly. In Linux, what we have? In the
Yum.
Linux, we have Ubuntu, we have EPT. You have this one, CentOS and RHEL. We have Yum, DNF, and so many. So in this context, if you look at this, coming back to my page, which is here. Here you have apt-get, which is for Ubuntu Debian-based operating system, Yum for CentOS and RHEL Red Hat-based system, DN for Fedora, and also the very popular package manager. You can install, uninstall, update. Simple, not too complicated. So I have already shown you the demo. If you remember, I had installed the packages, which is here. See apt-get install Apache 2. I want to remove it. So apt remove Apache 2 and see, oh, access problem sudo done. So I remove the packages. So this is becoming very handy. Let me tell you, these all get installed the packages in the directory, which is, let's say, var location. Okay, var lib location. So please remember that. Again, you may have a different path also, depends on the package. So you have to query those tools actually. So this is the stuff. Now, these are the commands which is for the admin and network troubleshooting. I will take it in the admin sessions. So guys, overall, what I'm trying to say, these all commands which I talked about it, you have to practice it. And the more you practice it, the more you get comfortable with it. Any questions so far, all of you?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to send you the lots of resources which can help you to practice this, and you can, if you get any questions also, you can ask in the group, and we'll help you. Now, let me tell you all the tutorials already we have it in the DevOps school. It's just a matter of locating it. just search for and every start searching for your everything, whatever. Let's say you want to search for chown, okay, and then put the debug school at the end of it. You will have a complete full blown tutorial for this. Let's see, okay, or let's say grep or find all this thing. So you will have a good tutorials already written, and which will save your time. Basically, let me tell you, Linux is not a I mean, if you say like you need a someone to help you in a Linux, so I would say Linux there from last 20 years. Just one thing is required, is practice. The more you practice, the more you get used to it. Initially you get a frustration because you're a Windows guys or Mac guys, you got a habit of console UI, you might not enjoy in that initially, but the moment you start working on it, you fall in love and you will never ever touch Windows again. I can tell you for with a surety. Okay, so practice it, and after this we'll move on to the shell scripting. Okay, so this is the one. Let's have one break before that, and let's grab your tea, coffee, restroom, and personal calls. And once you come back from the break, I will talk about the shell scripting. Before that, any questions anyone have?
Have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@debugschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.